You Season 4 Part 2 reprises only a few weeks after the fire at Phoebe's castle. Jonathan, knowing Reese is the rich killer, is determined to bring the aspiring mayor of London to justice. Reese, on the other hand, wants a friend, someone who shares his interests and can relate. Joe realizes Reese killed his so-called friends because they all became a liability to his campaign. Malcolm was blackmailing him for his gambit habit. Simon's exploitation of women was about to leak and he couldn't be associated with him. And he slept with Gemma multiple times while still married. She would have definitely made the news slip, embarrassing him and ruining the campaign. Reese has another request for his friend Joe, finding someone to frame for all the murders, otherwise, he's going down for all of it. Luckily for our Joe, at an art foundation party organized by Kate, Phoebe is kidnapped by her stalker, a photographer already seen in previous episodes, who will be smartly framed by Jonathan and arrested for being the serial killer. Professor Moore will utilize all his willpower to not engage in any way with Kate, but no matter how hard he'll try, the connection the two have will pull them together. Could the two of them have a chance now that Joe is done with Reese? Unfortunately, Reese is not done with Joe just yet. He has one last request, killing Tom Lockwood, Kate's father, who's financing his opponent in the mayor's campaign. Reese is murdering his way into office. After having dinner with Kate and her father, Joe realizes that maybe the enemy of his enemy could be his frenemy. How will Joe decide to act? In all of these frenetic and twisted plotlines, Nadia, the smartest student, will gain a bigger role in the second part of the season. She becomes suspicious of Jonathan, thinking he knows more about the serial killer than he lets on. The bright aspiring writer will start investigating him. Will we ever find out what Jonathan said to Phoebe the first night he met her at Sundry House? Part 2 starts as you would expect. Episodes 6 and 7 continue the plot of the first part of the season involving Reese and Jonathan. Even if interesting, some scenes are slightly too long and at times tedious. Everything changes with a major twist at the end of episode 7. It's smart and brilliant, but maybe a little too far-fetched. If some plots of the previous seasons looked implausible, the new twist takes it to a completely new level. The new arc, in the beginning, could likely shock you and made you feel lost. Even if the twist is very well written, there are too many storylines to follow in the second part. And not everything is impeccable. The first part of You Season 4 was engaging and so refreshing, with the changed narrative, the murder mystery, and Joe wanting to redeem himself by looking for the killer and using his skills for a better purpose. After the major twist, part of the narrative goes back to an already seen and repetitive plot and pattern of the previous seasons. It was frustrating to watch. For example, there wasn't a necessity for Marianne's story. In the second part, new characters are introduced. Reese and Joe's dynamic changes completely from episode 8. Not only it's quite intriguing to see, but the chemistry between Badgley and Spaliers is different from part 1. They are perfect together, and if the series gets renewed for a 5th season, I would like to see more of it. Overall, even if the series has some missteps, it was still intriguing to watch, and the decision on splitting it into 2 parts was effective in completely overturning the viewer's assumptions and predictions. Joe might be the master of denial, but he's fascinating, magnetic, and even if exhausting, I can find myself rooting for the anti-hero. Using Taylor Swift's Anti a Hero in the final few minutes was simply brilliant.